last year. And again, I kind of highlight that Bestia looks, a little bit weakened by some of the consistency that they've had in the roster changes over the last, month or so, or a couple months, in fact. But for right now, it doesn't look like a weakness at all with how good Leo DRK has been. We're ready to find out, though. We're ready to hop into the action, ready to hop into Anubis.
They needed those firepower upgrades, and I think they found them with Leo DRK and Cassid just being more consistent oppers on the scene for Bestia as they're taking it away. Bestia are starting off on the more difficult side, though. We're starting on CT side, one of the most annoying parts of the map to deal with as they're taking it away. We have Crew aggressive down in the canals, though. Fast E-box control inbound. It's Noxy tested and dealt with quickly. Those dualies fall fast, but wow, 2 back from Luchov is clean, but Honda has 2 of his own, and a third comes through from Laser. It's Cassine, fast flank. Doesn't seem like they're too prepared for it, though. Plant out in the open, but the kill is not there. It's Cassine in a very tough spot, but he's running headshots for the first, but cannot escape into cover. Exciting pistol round, I'll tell you that, but Crew get it.
Yeah, able to sneak away a little fadeaway before he exited that round, but all going to be kept in safe hands by Crew. And the pistol round here converted on this T side. A fantastic start. We will see the trend of these force buys continuing, though, of course, here for both of these teams going in for that second round purchase, trying to keep the pressure on, especially if you can get these valuable CT rounds early in a half. That can always build up a lot of momentum, build up a lot of confidence here in your ability. As you said here, it comes down to a lot of the anchoring here. That the idea of holding middle, especially with this amount of resources, is oftentimes limited. Kind of see that. And on the other end of the server, we can see, oh, I want to take that space here. I want to put a lot of presence in that department. Makes a lot of sense from the side of Crew.
Luchov looking for a little bit of a mid-fight pop flash through, but the smoke expands so wide. Can't see anything. But the A site stack, this is exactly what I'm saying. Site-centric defenses are the meta right now. On the CT side, if Crew committed, they could have been in some trouble.
Could have been bad news here. Having to constantly shift up those rotates, though, after the little bit of utility that they dispense is kind of fading away as well.
No flashbangs.
It is good patience from Crew.
It's good patience, but that patience comes with the price. They're running out of util here. This is going to be their final push with 30 seconds.
They got to make a move here, and it's looking like Thomason wants to be a hero. All backs turned right now. He could strike Luchov, distracting from the front right now. And there's that Thomason damage, powering through the T side, continuing his flank. A non-starter for Laser here. He's so low on HP, getting chased down. Kaysen will offer up the finishing blow. And a fantastic move in between that duo of Luchov and Thomason, distracting, drawing attention away there, and continuing the fight.
And exactly, I mean, it was an issue back on their T side of Nuke, but the utility management is not great here for Crew, with no flashbangs on the exec. And the amount of damage Thomason gets with one burst of the MP9. Everyone's half HP, going into his scout, going into another MP9, and everyone combines there for Bestia. It is a pristine defense. And a well-played macro game. From this defense, Laser's gonna get flashed on through. Spam for Luchov will convert the kill. Full blind, all 35 bullets needed for 1 kill.
There's a lot of resources right there. What's looking like they're worth their weight here, though. This Kaysen has a lot of ammunition as well. There keeps holding the line. Smokes go in to try and maybe offer a plan, but they're not gonna let that slide. Overwhelm the final remaining here and continue winning ways. Bestia stampeding their way through now on this CT side. Up against the force buy, they make it look easy. And now they got an even easier round here up against the Glocks.
So funny, but Kaysen throws his smoke mid-execute, and it makes it awkward because the Crew players don't want to swing through the smoke, so they swing close. And it's not an optimal fight. It's not how you're supposed to scale. You expose yourself to more angles as you swing close instead of far. So a lot of those players just get chewed up by the camera player and Kaysen together. Double swing here mid-house. Just a bunch of Glocks. Surely that nothing will go wrong. A boost up for reverse if this is being held. And arm scene there. The Galil is the optimal weapon here.
This is the P90 of rifles, but it is eventually bested by the Glock right there. So many bullets, so many options. Just get to continue to fire away. And again, just a single casualty is not a big concern at all for the CT side. They really get to build up a firm foundation for themselves on this defense, and it's not even with the luxury of a pistol win here. It's with some of those same problems flaring up from Crew, costing them in round 2. That now Bestia get to smile heading into the first gun round. Do a util check here on how long Crew are able to hold on to this utility here for this T side, right? I mean, you mentioned it earlier, but talking about how they kind of fly through some of that util. If that's a problem consistently here, they're going to be struggling with all the mid control that they can take, but actually getting into these bomb sites. That's going to be the bigger problem.
They got one flashbang, and they still, and Cassine's op is rotating to the proper position. They're gonna A-split into what could be absolute devastation. Noxie gonna take first contact in a crossfire that just can't be broken because there's no flashbang. Crew once again make the same error and they get rocked.
Yeah, that guy right there, right? I mean, how many times here do you see a perfect camera flash into the coordinated peaks, into the overwhelm of that A bomb site? And it has to, I mean, I'm not going to blame an individual here. It's probably the system that is not allowing for this utility. It's probably the economy a little bit to boot in this round in particular.
True.
But, you know, there's a couple different problems. But that's always, you know, that late A main flank player that is tossing in that utility. And you can see that what he's left with is only a Molotov right there. It's just really brutal that that's the case once again. And that yeah, I mean, perfect time to call a timeout right now for Crew.
Yeah, this was happening on Nuke too. Like a lot of players too loose with their util usage. And especially with Bestia, you know, playing the site-centric setup. Right? You know, they're not really challenging mid, so those flashbangs are not getting any value.
And they're just hearing them all pop right now. They're like, man, thankful that I'm not there.
Exactly.
It is pretty typical, though. I think as you watch, like, especially, man, there's so many, like, because, you know, sometimes it was oftentimes the IGL playing that kind of mid position for some teams, and, like, you look at, like, the rifle struggles of any player playing mid, it's so hit or miss on the CT side, so, you know, so many teams have just elected to double up into A site proper, focus in on A main control, defending it from heaven, and getting that mid space. And I think that's a smart direction for a lot of teams. I mean, judging by how frequent we see those sort of setups. But all the utility that you do expend here for Crew is just null and void. I mean, so little value out of some of that utility when it's just ignored and avoided. I wonder if they're going to lean away from this mid control here and try and do some work. Off spawn executes here, a little less defaulting.
This is nice from Crew because they're taking mid just with contact, right? They know it's empty. This is finally the adjustment that Locomotion has called in for Crew. And we'll see if it works. This time, they have the setup. They're ready to pounce, but they're into 3 rifles. And without the flashbang they need, it's no good. Crew got the space in mid for free. They recognized that there was no one there. But they just didn't have the equipment to actually execute upon that. Crew with the right idea, though, in that round.
Yeah, it's a step in the right direction. That's a valuable ad right there off the back of the timeout. Now you just got to translate some of that idea, some of that theory into this gun round here, more importantly. And see if that offers up a little bit of success for you. See if that can change the direction. You got Kaysen playing pretty effective with the AWP already, 9-3. And that's already, again, a good sign. You're talking about some of the new adjustments that BESTIA brought to the table. If you're Noxy, you're seeing this off presence, you're having a good game here, but you're really happy that this op is able to float around the map so effectively.
Ricky is a very confident player.
The CT Molly. He knew it wasn't going to do a thing.
It's not doing a thing again.
Look at that. He's yawning right now. Not the care in the world, but Leo DRK does have to panic a little bit. Now, spam coming through right there, forced into the duel, and a little bit overwhelmed and overpowered by the T-side Molly. A little bit more impactful, and reverse 2 through the smoke right there. Gonna do the trick onto the bomb site. So far, Crew not able to see a single one of their opposition, but it doesn't look like that's an option for BESTIA. They're still fighting back into this one. No one's seeing in each other. Everyone's smoke spamming.
Ricky's
working.
Oh my god. Okay, Ricky taking this really aggressive fight is very risky. And I mean, I trust Thomason to win that duel. Oh, but okay. Ricky's got that one locked in. I'll stop talking here.
So, you know, Riggy took that confidence from the 2 mollies not burning, and he used it to push forward into Temple right there. So he really was confident. It wasn't just the CT molly. It seems like confidence is key. Nice, a little adjustment there. Able to work up E-box. Good setup for themselves to make it work. I think just the biggest bummer there in the world is how useless that CT molly is for BESTIA. Like that, watching 2 mollies go by to get just completely destroyed by one singular T-side molly. That's so infuriating. But hey, T-side meta, right?
Yeah. Molly is just a burning inferno, while a CT molly is a little jerry can with a match. All right, that's all it does.
So nice little. You can roast your marshmallows on there.
Yeah, you know, a family-friendly campfire is what the CT molly is. They have to make sure it's you know, child-proofed. No one could get burned.
Not too explosive.
This is a good setup round here for Crew at the moment. About to crunch this B side with full hit. But that's a big kill to find on a Riggy. Just as the execute is about to come through. Now, Honda hasn't been seen. He's activating late on the lurk, and he will have a back turn in the form of Leo. Ooh. And that's a massive kill as well from Laser. Things get complicated. Honda activates late, but Noxy flicks back. 2 versus 3 on the site, but then all the kills come through. 3 consecutive for Crew.
Wow, I mean, that's not easy to do right there at all. They all flood through the smoke, and I love the way that BESTIA play it. And again, you're still seeing the quick rotates. They just didn't quite get the kills they needed right there. Good lines from the AWP presence of Ataraxia. You know, we've watched kind of fall asleep in some of these duels, but looks wide awake in that last round. Puts a real scare onto that defense there from peeking any further. From peeking as a team instead of letting them fight into it. Like Crew was able to do. This is wild here from Noxy. Deep down. Oh, it's his teammate from the back of E-box. I was gonna say there, that's a nice little bit of spam damage. Spam from where, there's the question, from behind him. Teammates shutting him down a little bit. And he's not gonna stick around in Canals here. In this case, Crew have so much utility now. They haven't expended much of anything, really, and he knows that that's the danger zone as soon as that smokes fade away.
Crew with no map control now. They are just gonna off the dry fight a lot of this. Honda clearing out below. There's a flashbang to clear out the rest of Canals, so Crew basically start their round at 1 minute. And BESTIA are completely out of util. They do have a push into B main, though. And Reversive won't challenge it. So a stack is available here on A. And the hit is clean. It's going to be a Noxie burning down to 0. Luchov gets caught through the smoke, and Cassine didn't hit anything on the entry. And he needs to run. It's going to be crew up to 4 now.
Yeah, there's so much conditioning right there from all of the mid hits that they thought it was probably coming through from that direction once again. This time, a little bit mistaken in that department. Leo DRK could offer up some exits.
Wait a second.
He has a kit. Oh, boy.
Oh my god. Okay, but
kit.
Reversive is staying with the bomb. Reversive is staying with the bomb, so this won't happen. All right, knife out. Leo's gonna try this. Fake defuse. And there's no way. No, he doesn't have time for this. Surely, no. No, 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 no. Oh my god. Another millisecond defuse. Missed out on there by Bestia.
I mean, I gotta give a lot of credit right there to Reversive. Small little micro detail. He doesn't full commit at all. He actually did stutter step in heaven. I can't believe he made that decision to stutter step in heaven for some wild reason. Thinking that, you know, that's gonna be a full stick. He was mistaken in that, but he just makes the perfect move to save that round from the brink. Reversive just saved their butts so bad.
From embarrassment, no less. Yeah, I mean, I know in my situation, I am wide swinging, I'm panicking. I'm like, oh my goodness, we're just about to lose the round. Dude, we're on the mainstream too. Are you kidding me? Yeah.
Primetime TV right there.
Yeah, don't want to end up on another Reddit clip. Dude, ever since, what was it, like Rops pulled off that defuse or something like that? I forgot who did it. I think it was someone on FaZe Clan who did it. Like, everyone's been given it a whirl because now that the bomb radius is so big. Mostly on Nuke. I think on Anubis you can kind of get away with just like hanging out in A main.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of that sneaky stuff from like Nuke and Inferno. For sure. That is one of the luxuries of this map, though, is that it should never happen because you can stick around the bomb so close. Unless you go for a little bit of early rotates off, that can be, like, if you're hunting too early, like they did in that last round, but, again, bailed out by Reversive. Shout out to Reversive one time right there, saving the day in a big way. But, anti-USPs is pretty comfortably handled right there without question, and that'll set up nicely here for a chance for crew to at least lead here into the first half, which I would say is minimum for the T side of Anubis.
Fast control here of A main into a two-man setup is the play here for crew. And Ricky goes down because of it. Ataraxia forced off by Amali, and you know, extremity heavy defense. You try to challenge it quick, and that ain't gonna work.
Also right there with the AWP presence striking first. That's exactly what they're looking for here. They want to be aggressive. Great flashes here, diving through that smoke to save the day, though. That's great coverage coming through from Laser. Has his teammates back.
Yeah, the thing is, he's known on this angle. I think a shoulder was spotted there by Laser. Good flash, but difficult conversion.
So at least an equalizer here. A little bit of relief of the stress for crew at the moment. But again, there is a bit of clock that they have to worry about right now. Luchov playing in a very committed angle. Hoping that if it's a contact approach here, that they walk right into his crosshair. That's
so hard to headshot you on this angle.
Tricky. Can he find the headshots back in return, though? No, he does. Instas. Both peaks right there.
Ah, he burns. He was blinded up. Hold on, Kassim has to nail this. Oh, and reversive hits the first bullet headshot. They're back in the round. 10 seconds. 10 seconds, though. Ataraxia has to find a safe spot to plant, and it's out in the open. It's free for Leo. Round denied.
There you go. Able to chase it down. Reversive can't save it this time. Gonna be bested. In the closing statement right there, Bestia walk away with a 6th round on the CT side. Maybe it got a little bit away from them here over the last couple of rounds when we did see that great timeout called out by the crew side. They're looking to muster that up once again here for the close of the half, but it's still going to be 6 rounds here for Bestia to work with nonetheless, and that's going to be a fantastic feeling here for the squad. See what the adjustment is here for this this crew camp here. See what they bring to the table off the back of that timeout. It's a
Starting
big question.
B.
Really utility toss in that department. Not seeming like a super off spawn play here, but maybe some smokes that are a little bit foreign for Bestia that they're not used to seeing here. That might set up some reaction from them. You can see a lot of utility being tossed out to try and counter some of the idea of aggression through that smoke.
E-box control. Ricky's gonna walk the smoke. Way too early on moving through too. Leo had a clear as day shot there and a dink onto Ataraxia. Oh, and a missed shot out of the Argentine Opera. Thomasin starts to close in on the A main push to a double from him. Thomasin, always the best player you want on the wide swings. And he delivers.
He still has that there. Sometimes on this team here, get in positions where he doesn't get a lot of swinging, but if he's given that chance here, he's going to take it. He's going to take those kills and back it up here. Kaysen is going to take the last to close it out. Bestia with a 7-5 half here as we head into the side swap.
If you wanna be my love, boy, gotta take it slow. If you wanna be my love, I'll show you what you wanna know. If you wanna be my love, boy, gotta take it slow. If you wanna be my love, I'll show you what you wanna know.
And some good mid-half adjustments for Crew. Stops it from being a runaway game, but Bestia, with 7 rounds on CT side Anubis, I think it's more than you can dream for. This is what they want exactly to close out this game. If I draw my collection, McHenry, let's see if they can do it. Secure 2-0 on the night.
See what they can bring to the table. Ataraxia already using those dual Berettas effectively. Looking for both pistol conversions and a 5v3 to do so. Denied the early prong of this approach, but they're still out on B. They're still working with a little bit of motion. That's until Honda slows the roll here.
Oh no.
Flank from Noxie. Their positioning's so bizarre. Can't be anticipated. Noxie might open up some new avenues.
Luchov as
How
well.
do they
He's
link up?
on a backstab here. Oh, Ataraxia is gonna get caught by Luchov in mid, who went through the entire B site into CT spawn and hits the A site. Suddenly turning around this 2v5.
I mean, that's just madness right there. Unbelievable
A
flanks on
flashbang?
flanks on flanks here. Flash to peek into water and fully blind as he can't react. Not in time. What a recovery here in the 5v2. Just one more to find, and it's already taken down low. Luchov will eventually close here, and Bestia, again, just know how to make any round work.
They gotta be elated with that round. I mean, the coordination to line up a flash for water there as well on the swing is also just so beautiful. But the pathing from Luchov, he never stopped moving. He knew his job. He didn't get any kills, but he took space. And Noxie staying down there in spawn caught off all the players who pushed A main. Everything going right. And Crew, they're too far down in rounds to really choose a force buy here. They can't afford to give too much. They just want to get the guns out as quick as possible. If they get a kill or two, maybe they get an op here. That's the best they could hope for.
What a painful position to be in, right? I mean, again, we've been kind of looking at how the advantages have kind of plagued them. Thomas is just going to chew through them with a MAC-10, making it look so easy. Glock out the close as well. But this has been a consistent theme here for Crew. Right there, I would say more so. Again, I give a lot of credit to Bestia for how they are able to pull these rounds back, but the situation in which you find yourself in another 5v3, and it's so very vulnerable, is such a concern here for this team. And it's still flaring up once again in the second half, especially in a pistol round of all things. That's the last place you want to see it.
Hassine already bringing out an AWP as well, because Thomason made so much money. That could be an unexpected play, especially with these jiggle peaks here from Laser. These jiggle peaks are wide jiggle peaks too. Yeah, but he still converts the kill onto Luchov. A bit of a whiff there from someone who's always usually so strong, but then a flashbang back in. Great setup here for Bestia. Thompson gonna walk this though. And he sits the Ataraxia, but not fast enough. Trade back though from Leo. 3v3, other side of the site. This has to be reversive. Quick trade from Kasim. We got a 2v2 now.
So hard to read this offense right now. They're all over the map here, fighting on all fronts at all times. It feels like they have more players than you at the moment here, and looking to overwhelm on this retake, trying to be quick on the approach, but making a lot of noise in doing so, burning some crucial utility for this retake as well. The timer ticking against him here. Tough spot for Noxie to find himself, and he fights through it. Not a concern here for his rifle presence, and he'll close out the finishing blow as well.
That's exactly what you want to see there from Noxie. He just takes initiative. Not a rifler by trade, but I guess he is now. Handles the last 2 kills of that round.
Yeah, I mean, it's a huge adjustment period for him, obviously, and, you know, there's always questions around if he can offer up that success out of the gates. That's a victory that looks like he can maybe prove it. Beautiful work there with the rifle to close, and again, the calls here just been so chaotic early on, but again, explosive, still in his identity as well. It doesn't seem like that's changed at all here, despite him changing roles.
And the calling from Bestia has still been great. Luchov stepping forward. Hi there, Ataraxia. And the readjustment. That's more like it from Luchov. And a 3 versus 5 that should just easily be converted. Bestia have everything they need.
Full rain right now. What to do is make the right decision here in the end goal. So I do like the idea of grouping up right now for this crew squad. Try and use strength in numbers. And they're heading into this direction as well. They might just head into this stack. They still got utility to execute onto this bomb site. That's not going to quite flush him out of position just yet. These shots can start to connect here. Can quickly get a little bit dicey here. Reversing to open it up. The Eagle looking to sing, but the trades do come through. And they come through from Leo DRK and Luchov here. Not going to let those L's come through for Bestia.
I'm not going to say I see what you did there, but I see what you did there. Look, Luchov is playing as he's expected on this team. That's why he's stayed on this Bestia lineup for so darn long. It's CS2. It's all about the mechanics. And right now, I think this is the most stacked Bestia team we've had in a long time. It really is all about just the execution, hitting the shots. And I can see this Bestia team going really darn far. They're starting to find their footing. Just a bit. Had a little bit of an awkward start on opening day with their matchup versus Sharks. But they're showing all the elements of a strong team for the future. Cassine has been a good late round op. Leo back on Nuke was a strong multi-killer. And Luchov is just in the high value positions and there for that execution. So I'm really liking what I see out of this Bestia unit.
I mean, this team is super stacked. There's no question about it. It started off pretty well at the beginning of the year for this squad. I mean, they're able to really kick things off in a nice way for themselves. I mean, we remember that, I mean, I guess it wasn't even, like, actually at the starting of the year, right? It was before the player break even had lifted. They had played that that Frost and Fire event where they, you know, closed out. And they did so in the most grueling fashion all the way through. And I thought, you know, those changes looked very good then as well, but those results did not remain. I think it was a little bit of the idea that, you know, that this team was still, it had a lot of the potentially. I'm just not sure if all of the pieces had all the buy-in to the way that they were playing right now. If you're talking about, like, having the buy-in here for these players, like, these guys all like to get aggressive. They all like to get scrappy. I know Thompson's going to believe in Noxie in the game plan. I know that you're going to look at, like, other players, like Luchov, long-standing members. They're all going to believe, but bringing in Leo DRK, like, that guy, you know, he's going to like the idea of playing a little bit fast-paced in nature. Whereas, you know, some of the other guys there on this team in the past, I do think maybe struggled to get along with that style that Noxie brings.
Yeah, like Peng is a solid individual and he's landed himself on another good team. He's playing for Audic at the moment. But yeah, it just didn't continue. You know, it may have been a little bit of a honeymoon phase. And as much as we loved Naz at the start of the year, he just didn't keep up the same form he was picked up for. You know, he wasn't delivering huge amounts of X Factor in the same ways that, like, Leo DRK is doing right now. Especially on that map of Nuke. He was just breaking open with multi-kills consistently and being sent into those sites and at least getting his one, doing his job. And I don't think Naz is there for the execution. Now this team is much more loaded up with firepower. You have a player like Noxie who plays smart Counter-Strike, right? He knows he's not going to be making too many mistakes. He might not have the ridiculous mechanics of these cracked 21-year-olds running around Brazil, but he's definitely just got the brain for the game. He's not gonna mess it up for his team. And maybe that's just what you need for this Bestia team. So I'm excited what the future holds for this lineup. I think it's their best lineup they've put together yet.
I mean, that has a really high ceiling. Again, I think it's all about having that consistency, which I mean, this team certainly can develop. Without question, I think this is a roster that can bring it through. Obviously, like there's going to be a lot of growing pains for this roster in terms of settling in with the 5-man here long term. But Kaysen already showing some signs of strength here with the AWP consistently here. Knows how to operate with the game plan. Noxy still being effective enough with the rifle. I think it's always going to come down to, you know, when they do play tougher competition. When they do play competition that is like reading into you pretty effectively, are they going to be able to counter it? Because I do think sometimes, with what I've seen this year, is that, you know, as soon as a team gets used to this roster and their T side, how aggressive and how off spawn it can be, they either come into the matchup prepared and then shut it down, and then BESTIA are in a bit of a hole that they have to dig themselves out of, or, you know, the result is like they don't dig themselves out of those holes, and then they lose games like that pretty frequent up against like the upper echelons of the South American scene. And that's always my big concern, is I think we need to see more dimensions to this team.
Maybe we'll get some of that. Right now we're in a little bit of a technical pause, folks. However, as we take this little Argentine derby to see who's going to top the table here in ECL Season 49 down the stretch of the season, we're going to toss this one off to a little bit of a break, and when we come back, we're going to be back live here to close out this game of ECL Season 49 South America. Be back in a bit. And thanks, fellas, for sticking with us during the tech pods. That is, if you did. If you're watching this on a VOD and you skip past the fly-throughs, unacceptable. Anyways, we're back. What's up? It's fine, Collection McHenry. We're taking this one away. Bestia up 11 to 5. Say
They're
again?
not allowed to. Are they not allowed to skip through?
That's
Maybe
anti-Counter-Strike behavior.
You gotta watch the whole thing. You gotta watch the whole show like you're live in the audience right now. Because if you're watching right now, you're seeing Leo DRK hunt down Ataraxia with a Molotov to lead with the tip of the spear. It ends up being Thomason to fire up here with the first opening. They've overwhelmed this A site, and they're choosing to ignore Ataraxia. It's the best way to deal with the problem until Thomason eventually just puts some smooth moves on him. Laser trying to save this round and actually does catch Case and a little bit out of position, a little bit surprised. Now Thomason picks up an AWP here, and Noxie not able to knock down the kills. Seems like everyone's operating with the AWP except for Noxie, and he falls. Eventually it's Thomason who has to save this round. The post plant can't do it because his aim is separated, and Bestia, after looking so good, pulling these situations back, fail one of their own.
Yeah, they wanted to take the deep backhaul control there, and caught with a nade in hand. One of these players, Cassine, misses an op shot onto Laser. That gives the second kill, and everything just falls apart. Missed Molly as well from Thomason, limits the positioning from Noxie. Everything that could have gone wrong there did for Bestia. Crew have an avenue back into the game. It's gonna be hard. It's CT side Anubis, down 6 rounds. But the window is there.
Yeah, I mean, I guess just the big side relief is that you don't have to do it in a flawless fashion here. That's what that luxury of pulling that last round back gives you. because it did look like it was going to be off the break into more of the same. That would have been a really devastating reality here for Crew to face. Instead, lifeline granted with a huge recovery opportunity, a chance to maybe set some frustration in for Bestia, potentially. A lot of better chances to close in that last round, but they just go right back to it. You know, what worked for us last round, it was Leo DRK being just a workhorse up middle.
Aggressive lines taken back in towards B main, but it's a 2-for-1. Reversive doubles up. Luchov wasn't ready for the elevated position. Thomason steps forward into a fight, and Honda beats him on the angle. Easy 2v4. This is probably going to be a save with no util remaining here. And indeed it is.
Yeah, they're just bailing. Calling this one a day. There you go. Again, that offered up lifeline there just a round ago translates into a very successful bit of aggression through B main. You know, fantastic 2-for-1. A little bit more confidence gained now in some of your opening duels and exchanges, and you're right back on track if you're on the side of Crew with a couple rounds in a row here. Again, you know, the path is still pretty steep here despite that, but you start to bring that conversation on in here piece by piece, taking it round and around, starting to find yourself more and more successful. Save rifles though into a MAC-10 little Deagle purchase here, so the force buys and the pressure will remain on their shoulders here at the moment.
Yeah, with only 3 smokes. I wonder if the op revealed itself in that last round. See if there's any overpeaks. There's only 2 players on this defense here. Noxie lining up his smoke. It's laser back sight here. Finds a double. And they find him through the smoke. That is massive. That's a bomb plan. That's a 3v3 with an op set up here on the B site.
Here's a chance to shut down the lifeline that they were looking for. He looking to make his move on in. Gonna try and game the timing here, but he's dealt with ease. Thomason doesn't even let him turn the corner here. The flank eventually comes through from Honda. Still trying to fire up on this flank opportunity. A nice quick scope offered up and a panic in from Noxie.
No.
They do it again. Flushed out of position. The time ticking against Crew, and yet they make it look easy. They make Bestia shake.
What is happening? Okay. So Cassine missed 2 critical op shots to take down Honda on the B main flank. That is flat out what happened. And then, I mean, Ataraxia, credit on the shots, but you just need to play the time. And it all goes just absolutely wrong. These are some rounds that Bestia can't afford to give up.
Yeah, I mean, it's very similar to how they lost that A side round. More so that they were caught out of position, like you said, that last round. Their case and just not being able to connect on a couple of shots that have to come through to make it easy. But how did this all kind of spring up here? It's that you see initially they miss out on an A side post plan. It's not all that could cause for concern, but then you see that last round there and in another good position, looking like they're going to bounce back, and gets ripped away from them. So there's a couple of rounds now where there's a bit of struggles to operate in the post plant. The communication getting a little chaotic here on their end. And they look nervous, which is kind of surprising here. They just look a little bit nervous in the closing statement of this game. But maybe that's Crew opening up new doors.
Yeah, it looks like we have another disconnect, though. and it's gonna slow down the momentum that Crew have just built up with those last 2 rounds. With those both rounds pulling it back in deficits and turning it around with some big rounds, with Ataraxia finally working with the AWP. Definitely had some strugglesome rounds, especially on the A side defense. Bestia had good utility. This time around, late round situation comes through and delivers a big moment here for Crew. They're still in this. They can still secure a map win before this closes out. Bestia, on the other hand, I mean, these pauses are definitely letting the tilt from boiling over. That's for sure. If you kept on playing, if you kept just bashing your head into the wall, losing these very painful situations, then that could be an issue, but at least they get to cool down a little bit and mentally reset here.
Yeah, that's kind of what you're hoping here for them. I mean, we know this team has a roster that really likes their timeouts, right? So the fact that they kind of get them there charged for free there is quite nice. It could settle the nerves, but obviously, you know, the discussion's another thing here. How do they, you know, not only settle the nerves that they're possessing in these post plans, you just gotta, in some of these situations, they just gotta sit still, and it's coming through from some of the more experienced leaders here as well that are finding themselves in these very awkward situations that maybe could create some long-term concern here for Bestia. Obviously, I don't think this is a tendency. I think they're fighting a battle with their own mindset right now, right? That the closeness and nature to close, but again, even with that being said, right, how much pressure is actually on these guys to try and lock this best of one in, right? This is a very, you know, middle of the road in the season game right now, and trying to close this one out. It shouldn't be creating this amount of pressure, but I'm just seeing mistakes and moves that, you know, I very rarely see players on this team make here.
Yeah, I mean, there's just missed shots, and I'm sure Cassine is going to be fuming. He's had again, he's been in the right positions in these late rounds. That's what you want him for. You want him in these 3v3s, in these post plans with the AWP. He's set up for success and missed twice now. And that can start to get on your nerves no matter how much the pressure is on. I mean, you have expectations for yourself to hit, and he's been missing out on those. So we're going to head back live and see if they can stabilize the ship here. There's going to be an eco available for Bestia, as we do have Reversive back in the server. Let's see if we can get this one on, and Crew can start a comeback effort, or if Bestia can put it down.
That's what they're made of here. A little bit of a pause, a little breathing room. How can they capitalize? You know what, Flash? Okay, he's behind the pillar. For a second there, I thought he was sitting close to A main, but just a little flashbang there to set up for the early op scope of Ataraxia. There's a lot of space towards Eepos. They're giving the space free of charge. There's a nice molly to meet, but Luchov sidelines laser, and they do not wait that molly out. They smoke it to scale forward, looking to overwhelm Reversive. Thomason eventually able to find it, and Leo DRK offered up some knockouts here on this bomb site here. Now a 2v3, both players rotating, rolling up into E-box right now. Honda looking to lead forward here with his op. Close behind him, there's still a Molotov. They're looking to flush these players out. Thomason still on the move, covering out that no one's flying.
Wait a
There's
minute.
that molly thrown in. It's missed though, not quite placed on the money. Does force a dance though from Case, and still a player tucked in the back. And protection for this.
Oh my God!
Coming through the deagle.
No
Cannot
way!
connect! And the defuse comes through. Bestia cannot find map point some way. What is that? How did he just steal it away right in front of him?
That... Oh my goodness. That was not supposed to happen. That couldn't have happened. Well, if that's anything to just take the lungs out of you right there.
I mean, maybe it's just not meant to be at that point, right? If you're Bestia. Maybe it's just not your day on Anubis here. We'll see if that remains true as it's actually laser behind him. Able to offer up that kill.
Oh.
Reversive somehow translates it into a multi. Defending with his life, eventually burns with the flame. And a package delivered
What?
to the player scaling up E-Box.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose you need to toss it across, but Cassine switches off of the AWP there. And now, okay, well, they got Luchov here. Luchov, does he miss these?
Oh my god.
But an overpeak there from Cassine. And Luchov in a 1v2 is going to feel very pressured to take these duels. Ataraxia, jiggle peeking out from Palace at the moment. Trying to wait for his teammate to make the move up from E-Box, and he gets the backstab in. Once again, an overface.
They're just so shaky in the post plant. I mean, that one comes through from Kaysen, right? Maybe more of an expectation that he's going to look a little bit wavery when it comes to the trust here. But they're in a 2v2. They just can't sit still on these sites. When they got the numbers punched in, the timer's ticking up against Crew, and they're the ones that have to make the next move. All that you have to do is have trust in these positions and your teammates right there in that sort of situation. But you can see Kaysen trying to reposition is so easily plucked apart, and Crew are capitalizing on every last one of those opportunities.
I'm so surprised that Kaysen also, he dropped his AWP instead of the AK. Like, in a 2v2 post plant, the op is exactly what you want. You have to think, in these simplified situations, you want an AWP to pick them apart.
The post plant? Yeah, absolutely. I'm right there with you. Yeah, I think that's just all of these. I don't know, nerves coming into full effect right now. But whatever the case is, whatever's haunting Bestia, they got to figure it out soon. Otherwise, Crew are gonna not only claim.
Oh my!
Lead. Luchov elevating past the smoke. Another one. He's ignoring this utility right now and shooting. Firing away. They don't know what hit him right now. And Noxy passes by as well. And well, if you can't close out the 2v2s, 5v2 is going to make your life a whole lot easier if they don't go for the retake.
I think he just jump spotted the back of the site and just spammed. And then he jump spotted again and domes the Palace player next. Luchov just says, we're going to win this, folks. I'm not even going to make it a question about this. And if the hunt is successful, it will be devastating for Crew. And so it begins. And back in through heaven. Ataraxia exposed. They know where both players are at the moment. Bestia is starting to close it down. Ataraxia misses an op shot. Honda trying to cover the fallback. And he's the last gun standing. He's gonna pick up the up. Hide inside of a smoke, hope, and pray. He's being tagged on up. And he will live.
We're getting crazy. We're just trying anything right now to survive when all that you can do is dance. He somehow evades. And it's just to hold on to a single weapon. That is all here. That's all that they're gonna have to work with. It is nothing else. An absolutely brutal reality Crew are facing as they clawed their way back into things. They gotta do it, you know, in the most difficult fashion if they actually want to pull this comeback off. Not only do they have to try and take it into OT, but they gotta do it with USPs and a single rifle here. And I believe there's an op on the ground, yeah. That'll be recovered. Tech pods will expire. And we should be smooth sailing.
You've got The fact that Ataraxia has an op right now, not everyone is on deagles and 5.7s, is something else. I mean, look at the buy right now for crew. Reversive on dualies. I typically favor the P250 over the dualies. I'm not sure what you got to say about that. I mean, at least against full guns.
Against head Kev, I'm buying P250 every day. I actually been playing it with the P250 more recently. I've been picking that gun up a little bit. It's been nice. We'll see what the decision is here. I believe we're in just a short, brief flyover, as we might be able to close out this thing here and now. Once and for all here, Bestia come out on top in this round that looks so comforting in the very get-go. Reality is that there has been a little bit of struggles here for this Bestia camp to try and finish the job.
Ataraxia op, going for a peek down into the canals. Another HE to the sky. That one doesn't see Noxy. He takes cover behind the pillar. And a lot of the utility use, desperately looking for an opening pick with that op. Not meant to be. Honda gonna eat a flashbang, dive back in. He's gonna get flashback in himself, but oh, it's Cassine to save his teammate. And an opening pick for Bestia. No util remaining for crew. And a squeeze here on the A site.
Yeah, starting to close out and put a lot of pressure on Riggy here. Not a lot of support coming through, although they do actually buy enough time, and it might be the best decision. Leo DRK rerouting into this cubby in towards middle. Will he ever get cleared? They're side by side right now, and he walks right into his crosshair. It doesn't get any easier than that. No scope coming through from Ataraxia, but that's the alarm bells here to scale quickly and efficiently into this B-bomb site.
He's been hurt as well. Leo, hearing him sprinting around spawn, hoping to make a move every which way, but tough luck, Ataraxia. This was not meant to be. Some rounds that never should have been. Well, it doesn't matter at the end of the day. Bestia take it 13-10. As there's a couple tech pods and some momentum stoppers right there down the stretch. And, well, they will lock it in eventually.
Fantastic close right there. Comes from Bestia. A little bit dicey there on Anubis